Welcome. I'd like to welcome you to both the e-learning design and development program and your first course in this series. I'm Margaret Murphy, and I am very much looking forward to working with you over the coming weeks. In this brief presentation, I just wanted to give you the lay of the land in terms of the structure of the course and a general idea of what to expect each week. So first, let's look at the main goal of the course. Essentially, the main purpose of this course is to explore optimal design of e-learning and to expose you to what's possible out there. Interestingly, 10 years ago, you would see e-learning called out in job descriptions in training and instructional design, but increasingly it's becoming an assumed and essential skill in the field. So hopefully your participation in this program will serve you well in terms of career development. So let's look at what you'll find in the course. First is the course overview. Please do read the overview, as it will give you the nuts and bolts of things like the scope of the content, the weekly deliverables, and questions about assignments. It'll answer questions about assignments. As you know, this course takes content that is normally covered in 10 weeks and compresses it into a 7-week time frame. So I strongly encourage you to not fall behind. You'll also notice that there are some weeks have 2 topical modules covered and other weeks have only 1. So please do look ahead so that you can manage your time appropriately, because I know that you all have busy adult lives. One important thing to note is weekly assignments are due by midnight on Saturday. That's Pacific time. All right, so what can you expect in a typical week? Number 1 will be textbook readings. And I'd like to talk a little bit about the textbooks. So the first textbook is written by authors Clark and Mayer. This book combines cognitive science and research in cognitive science with training to excellent effect. The authors also managed to convey current research and evidence in learning and e-learning in a really accessible and practical way. They're not boring, and they're both really good writers. This book is a great resource. The Allen textbook, that's a very different approach. You'll notice his tone is very different also. I'd also like to mention that you might have noticed the 1993 publication date and wondered if that was a mistake. It is not. However, Allen is still one of the primary thought leaders in e-learning, and his ideas are as relevant today as they were when he published his book. Even though tools have evolved, his concepts are still very much valid. You'll notice that his tone, he is a little snarky at times and critical of poor e-learning or conventional approaches that he thinks are that they don't lead to really innovative e-learning. He does occasionally go overly long on one of his diatribes, so when you hit those sections, feel free to give those sections a cursory scan and just glean the key items from the chapters. That said, he has fantastically creative ideas and countless tips on developing phenomenal e-learning programs. His company, Allen Interactive, I visit their site regularly and I still attend their webinars, and I always come away with at least 2 valuable tips or, oh, that's a fantastic idea. Okay, so that's the textbooks. Number 2, each week you'll have written lectures. Often in the lectures there'll be resources interleaved with the lectures. For many topics you'll also see a brief video lecture from me. You'll also find in the course some video clips from my colleague and fellow instructor in this program, Nicole Bunzelmeyer. She teaches the fall version of this course. And I wanted to give you benefit of our combined experience, as she has experience in some areas and I have experience in others. So you will see video clips from her as well. Third item, for some topics you'll see additional recorded videos and web links, and throughout the course we'll have a couple of synchronous sessions, webinars, so that we have some real-time interaction. Fourth item, you'll see examples of e-learning where they are relevant. I know that when I first studied e-learning, I wanted to know what is possible, what have the best people in the industry created. So I hope you will have a sense of that by the end of our time together. Fifth item, discussion forums. I think that discussion forums serve several purposes. One purpose is simply to get the learner thinking about a topic, exploring it, looking for additional resources on the topic, so that the learner can start building their own mental maps and mental models of the topic and absorb it. A second purpose, which is talked about more often than the first one, is to build community among the community of learners. And a third purpose is that if it's done effectively, it can serve the same purpose as a lively classroom-based discussion. One idea builds off of another, and there's a certain synergy. So I hope that you will participate actively and find the forums valuable. Some weeks also have written assignments due. For example, a project that you'll be working on throughout the class. You'll need to choose a project topic, and I'll give you further guidelines later on. But start thinking about an e-learning project that you'd like to work on for the duration of this course, and it will carry over into other courses as well. And finally, optional resources. Each week you'll see a section. Obviously, they are not required, they're optional, but I encourage you to take a quick look through those. Even if you just glance through something like 50 e-learning tips, you're bound to glean a couple that resonate for you. Let's talk a little bit about communication with me and with your colleagues in the class. In addition to the weekly topical discussion forums, you'll find a general forum where you can post general questions and comments about the course. There is an Ask Your Instructor forum, so I encourage you to post questions to me, and if you could please allow 24 hours for a response. And we also have a current events forum. If you come across something on a blog or in the news that you think is relevant to this course, please post it there and everyone can read it. I also wanted to mention that you are able to control, well, let me back up. The discussion forums, you can set your settings so that you receive emails when someone posts in a discussion forum. And you have a few options in terms of frequency and whether you want to receive an email only when someone posts a response to your post, things like that. So if you go to participants and click on your name, you will see some options. Please note that I'll be releasing content for each week 1 week before that week starts. So for example, you can expect to see week 2 content on Sunday the 12th. It'll be released every week. However, in the course overview, you can see what the deliverables are for the entire course. All right, well, I'd like to say that it is such a great time to be in e-learning, instructional design, training. Uh, the world is changing with MOOCs and the open source movement, and there are more tools than ever. And what's most exciting is they're more accessible than ever. You don't have to be a programmer to design really cool, engaging e-learning activities. So I am very much looking forward to working with you over the coming weeks and to some lively online discussions. And I will see you online.